Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? As for me, I'm doing great. For those who join me here on Facebook, those who follow me on YouTube, and those who follow my TikTok under Abe CS, how's everybody doing this evening? As for me, I'm still recuperating. I'm feeling a little bit better. But for some reason, these allergies have just been horrible. Been getting the best of me daily, but I'm hanging in there. I still find a way, manage to do my workouts. How you doing, Brother Joe? How you doing? It's been, today will be the, 11th day that I've had these allergies. It was weird how it happened. I remember that day that I got the allergies where I was walking outside. There was a storm coming and there was a breeze. Once that breeze hit me, that was it. You know, it's like I didn't feel, as soon as I walked inside the house, it's like I feel different. You know, I know there's pollens, there's allergies and stuff like that. Pollen's in the air, and it can cause that. But, you know, I'm a spiritual guy, you know. I'm one of those guys, even though I have protection around my neck and, you know, I pray daily and stuff, you know, sometimes things happen in nature to try to keep us disorientated, try to stop us from doing the works that we do. And I felt that has been the case because I've gotten allergies before, but not like this, where it's a daily thing. But I don't let that get me down. Maintain my love foundation. You know, I see a lot of things happening within the cryptic community. How you doing, Sister Gloria Vela? I see the things that are happening within society. You know, it's some crazy stuff happening, brothers and sisters. The only thing I can tell y'all is we have to maintain our love foundation daily. And also we have to protect our next of kin, our children. You know, it's kind of like, we sense the spirit of our loved ones. Just like we sense their spirits, we know when they're in danger because they're connected to us spiritually. So the only thing we can do is give them advice, wisdom, and knowledge, because, you know, they're going to travel their own path in life, you know, and that's what I do. I just give the best wisdom and knowledge that I can give them, because there are other forces, brothers and sisters, that want to corrupt our next of kin. Trust me. My only son, you know, is going through some things, and I give him advice. You know, I know when he's going through things because I can see the things that are trying to affect him spiritually. And it's like when I see these things trying to come after my son, you know, and they think they have some kind of how should I say, jurisdiction over him. That's when I intervene and I go to these things that I'm seeing, that I'm witnessing. You want to call them demonic forces, unclean forces, and I tell them, be gone, leave. I tie by and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. You have no authority over here. So then I speak to my son. I said, look, I know what you're going through. And he's like, how do you know this? I say, because I know how to go. When you're going through this, what I do, son. And I tell him, whenever something appears at him or tries to tell him something, to tie by and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. And this is one of the things that's been happening lately I would say for about 2 months. You know, it's kind of like these unseen forces, when they can mess with you because you're spiritually ready for them, they go try to mess with another loved one, a family member. You know, that's why it's important. I'm telling you right now, important to maintain love foundation, but at the same time, we have to tell our next of kin, we have to awaken them also spiritually so they can be ready, because, you know, when somebody doesn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, when they're hearing a voice talking to them, then thinking it's just them thinking out loud, especially if the thing that is being said to them is negative. Jesus Christ is not going to talk to you negatively. He might give you some words of wisdom like, hey, be careful and stuff like that, but he's not going to put bad thoughts in your mind. right? That's when you tie binary rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. My son has awakened, and he's seeing the things that are happening around him, and it's like freaking him out a little bit, but it's just making him stronger, you know. When those things happen, he got 2 different tickets back to back, like one right after another. You know, when I tie binary rebuke that negative energy to leave my house, he got 2 tickets back to back. So it's kind of like it does that intentionally to see if you're going to get pissed off, see if you're going to get upset by getting 2 tickets, right? Speeding tickets. See you're going to get upset if we can find a spiritual opening. That's what they do. Y'all been through it, and I've been through it throughout my life. Where, you know, when we talk about roller coaster rides, it's life sometimes is like a roller coaster ride that's got a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs. And you say to yourself when you get tired of the roller coaster ride, like, when is this dang roller coaster ride going to stop? Why does it continue? Sometimes it's the path that we're on, that we need to change certain things that we're doing wrong in order for the roller coaster ride to stop. And when it stops, that's when things change for us for the better. But we got to want that change, you know. You can't want change but still be on the same path that you're on, because there's not going to be no change in that change. In that way, there will be no change. Another thing, fear mongering, right? I just witnessed a video where, how you doing, brother Christopher? We got brother Fabian. I just witnessed a video where there's a lady trying to tell her audience, right, that when the 3 days of darkness are coming, that the Nephilim are coming for you to close your blinds, to close your blinds, not for no light to go out of your home, and all this stuff. The only thing I have to say to the lady is, where's your lack of faith? You know, our love foundation, our relationship with Jesus Christ is going to this is what protects us now, and will protect us to whatever rises up to come up against us. So long we play Jesus Christ first, right? This is what I have to say to the lady. There's fear mongering. Most of these people that are fear mongering, somewhere along the lines, you know, I've run into a lot of witches. Some of my friends through Facebook, not knowing that that's what they practice. But fear mongering is not good. That's a spiritual opening. Being angry is a spiritual opening. Wishing bad upon somebody or talking badly upon somebody, that's a spiritual opening. If you're doing it or somebody's doing it to you, it's just going back and forth. There's nothing positive that's going to come out of that. And that's why there's forgiveness. We have to forgive and just move on forward. You know, we can't force anybody to like us or anybody to be our friend, right? If somebody's going to be your friend or like you, it's because of who you are. But you're going to go through your own trials and tribulations, just like I went through my own trials and tribulations in life. You know, it makes me who I am right now. How you doing, brother John Montoya? What I want to talk about is hellhounds, brothers and sisters. Let's get to the nitty gritty. You know, y'all seen y'all that I put that hellhounds. You know, I'm gonna share. There's a lot of things when it comes to hellhounds. You know, when the hellhounds are spotted, right? When you see a hellhound and it's got red eyes, you think about other creatures, right? Or other, should I say, spiritual creatures or mythological creatures that have red eyes. For example, the Mothman. You know, the Mothman, and the question of the day will be, was a Mothman spotted when the bridge collapsed? When the thing hit the bridge, was the Mothman spotted? They say that the Mothman surfaces up the Mothman, the Dark Man, shadow figure, that they surface up when there's a tragedy that's spotted, as like, for example, a bridge collapsing. So that would be the question of the day: was there a Mothman or a hellhound or a dark figure spotted before the events of the bridge collapsing, where it seemed to me that they hit it intentionally? And then they got down. Was there any sightings of Mothman being spotted during the time of the collapse of that bridge? There would be a question, a question mark. Were there supernatural activity happening before that happened? That's something to seek for those that are have their own podcasts. There would be a question to seek, because as far as I know, when there's something tragic, the Mothman's been spotted, the Dark Man's been spotted in certain locations. I remember in Chicago when all those killings were happening over there, black on black crime, where they were spotting Dogman, Bigfoots, Mothman, shadow figures, when all these killings were happening. Well, what does that have to do with anything? It's because they're there to collect souls, soul collectors. They take the opportunity to collect on a soul which would be considered a fragmented soul, right? Because they died tragically. So that's what they're there to do, is to collect as a soul. If anybody got any questions on what I'm speaking about, you're more welcome to say something. I witnessed the hounds numerous times. When I lost my mother, I ran into a hellhound. The day that I lost my mother, back in 1985, I ran into two figures. Okay, it was actually three, but I didn't see the third one. Somebody else saw the third one. I ran into what seemed to be the hat man, all dressed in black with red eyes, this figure with a hat and long coat that was probably like, I would say 6 something, almost 7 foot tall, that it came at me, gliding, hovering over the air right at me. I can say it real quick, to that part when that happened. I went looking for my mother because it said that they couldn't find her. So I got on my 10-speed bike. In the Rio Grande Valley, the dirt roads are white because they're made out of caliche, which is a form of rock, white rock. But it's nothing but darkness, pitch darkness. There's no lights out there around the city, especially on the dirt roads. So I'm on my 10-speed, and I finally make it to a main road, and I pray to God before I went out there to guide me spiritually. So I go and I stop, and there's a highway. So I get on the highway and I start going the highway, and it's taking me back around the town, and I stop on this bridge. I'm by this bridge, and as I'm got off my bike, there's a light pole there, and I could see the light, so I'm walking on the bridge, and I hear moaning, right? I hear some moaning. So I'm looking to see where this moaning's coming from. So I go across a bridge, and I'm looking, and I hear where the moaning's coming from. I'm going towards where the moaning is, and next thing you know, through my right side, by this barbed wire fence, it came from straight up from the ground. It stood up, and it was huge, which was this man with a long coat, a hat, and red eyes looking at me. I'm looking at it. We're making contact. I'm not moving, because I'm not afraid of it. I know that being afraid is a spiritual opening. So I'm looking at it, and it's looking at me, and we're just connecting, right? As I'm connecting with it, in the distance, there's a ranch, probably like half a mile. There's a ranch, and I hear people laughing, and their lights are flickering on and off of their house. So he's looking at me, I'm looking at it, and then he starts gliding in the air like 2-3 feet off the ground, coming at me, straight at me. So I get on my bike and I start going back into town. There's a straightaway road. Cousin Jesus Carvajal knows this road that I'm speaking of. If you want to jump on, Jesus, let me know. I'll add you. There's this road was all messed up. It had potholes. It's one of those roads that the city wouldn't take care of. So there's potholes everywhere. So I'm going through the potholes, and I kept on looking back. At that time, I'm only 15 years old. So I'm looking back, and it's coming at me. And by the time I get to the irrigation system, where it goes underneath the street, I stop and I turn around. When I turn around, it's not that hat man with a dressed in with a coat with the red eyes. I look, what I see, it changed form. I believe it's the same thing. You know, they have many capabilities to manifest into many things. It turns into a hellhound. It's all black, an all black dog, and the thing that was a piercing red eyes looking at me, and the tail was sticking straight up in the air, straight up in the air looking at me. So I'm looking at it. We're like maybe, I would say, 5 feet away from each other because I'm on the other side of the road. The irrigation system that goes around the city is underneath me, but it's not crossing it. And I'm looking at it. Next thing you know, we're looking at each other. All my hairs are standing up when it, because it's something supernatural. So it's causing all kinds of activity happening to me, like my hairs are standing up and all my senses are getting triggered. And I start praying the Our Father. So I start praying the Our Father. It turns around and it just leaps like 20 feet, like taking long leaps. Like it's not even running. It's just long leaps. Like I would say 10 to 15 feet leaps going back the direction that we traveled. So I get on my bike and I drive fast back, or ride my bike back home. And when I get home, my aunts are there and they're telling me, hey, get the children, and my aunt was freaking out. She was scared. And I didn't know why she was scared. But I was told that when she got there, that she witnessed a black monkey on a blackberry tree with red eyes. So, when I'm talking about hellhounds, is dark figures and this monkey with red eyes, you could say that's demonic activity, right? That surfaced up because something is happening. So we got out of there. My little sister, she was only like 2 years old at the time. She told me, don't let me touch the ground. So I picked her up. I didn't know what she was telling me, but I'm more sure she could see what was around spiritually, because children, they can see things spiritually. I remember going to my aunt's house and stuff, and we were there, and the police contacted us. There was a storm that came in, and there was some cold rain that hit me outside. When that happened, I already knew something had happened. I knew that my mother wasn't in this realm no more, in the earth realm, in the earth world, that she wasn't alive no more when that happened. So, somebody had to identify through a picture. So I volunteered because I didn't want, my aunts or anybody to witness anything like that, because, that's something that can affect you for the rest of your life, So, I identified. Following day, I'm trying to go back to the area where they say they found her. And I'm speaking of this because I know my mother will want me to, because, that's the type of person she was. It's like, the priest told me that he was there the night before because he was the one that had to read the last rites. So I told him that I want to go back to the area to bless the area one more time. I wanted to be there, so we could say a prayer and stuff like that. So he picked me up and I went with him. We went on the road where the hellhound was. He was right there. We crossed a little irrigation system, and we went through the road. They had all the potholes. We got up there by the bridge, and he's looking to the left and he's looking to the right, and he said, "It's somewhere around here." Oh yes. He went forward down a dirt road that was by the canal. We passed the area where the hat man, or whatever you want to call him, whatever people call him, with the red eyes, was standing. We passed that pole, and maybe 5 to 6, probably 8 more feet was the area where my mom was found. So we went to go pray in that area, and we blessed that area. But basically what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, that these things do exist spiritually. I've witnessed it. When I witnessed them I witnessed them all the time, like even when I was working, I witnessed this, you could say, demonic activity or unclean spirits where they work within the hospitals, where they're out there trying to mess with people, continue to get them sick. Or at the psych ward, where I was in charge of a soldier that tried to take his life. His name was Sergeant Edwards. The first time I met him, I knew he was a medic because he would always check me out when I was sick. But they had gone to Bosnia. When he come back, I didn't go to Bosnia. I stayed rear D, and he was talking to himself in the quad. Like he was talking at that time. The technology wasn't there to have your phones where you can talk. So I seen him pass by, and then later on that day, around 4, around 6:30, they called me up to staff duty. Said they had because they were going to take me back to the field. I was sick. And I was ready. I had my packs packed, and then Sergeant Major, no, I got a detail for you. You're going to go guard this guy and try to take his life. If anything happens to him, said, I'm going to take your rank. I was a sergeant. So I go up to Darnell Hospital on Fort Hood. Now it's Fort Cavazos. And I go up to the 5th floor, which they call the 5th ward, where they have all the mental patients, that they've tried to take their life and stuff like that. So when I walk in there, man, right off the bat, my senses just get triggered because I've had those capabilities all my life. So I'm sensing all kinds of things around me in there, in that 5th ward. So I'm just looking around, and I go there, and I see him, and it was the same guy I bumped into the quad, Sergeant Edwards. And he's not saying nothing, he's just staring at the wall. But he tried to cut himself a couple of times in his arms. So I guarded him for, I would say, 2 months in there. Got him 2 months. There was definitely something there happening to him, which was more of a demonic possession, because I witnessed the demonic possession, or should I say the demon force that was controlling him, talking through him to me. And he was, the demon was telling me things that only I knew. That only I knew things about me, of my past, right? So I knew that there was a demonic force working through that, something demonic, something unclean. They knew things. So, I told the Sergeant Major that I wanted for him to get some help, call a priest or something, that he needed to have an exorcism because of what I witnessed. Sergeant Major said, I don't believe in that. I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chapter him out of the military, and he's going to leave as a dishonorable discharge. I'm going to take all his rank, and I'm kicking him out of the military. I said, Sergeant Major, he needs your help. So I told him, if I'm telling you he needs his help, you're not trying to give him the help, that it's going to fall on you spiritually, because you know that he needs help and you have the rank to be able to assist him to whatever he's going through. The reason he was like this is that when he came back home, his wife left him. His wife left with the children. So he got depressed and he tried to take his life, So I was trying to get him help, and the Sergeant Major was saying, no, I'm not going to help him. I'm not going to help him. Is it like F him? Like F him. And there's a lot of people like that, when they don't have understanding or they never experienced nothing, that they're automatically to say F them, F them, F them, That's not thinking the right way. That's not thinking with the heart. They just think that narcissistic characteristic comes out, right? So I say, okay, if he can help him, I gotta help him, So I take my Bible there and I start reading verses, and he would tell me, "What are you doing?" So I'm reading the verse, and I would put my chair right by the door. I had the night shift, so I would see all the activity happening around me, flying through the hallways. Then one day, I seen this dark figure, demonic figure, standing right over him, and it's like right there by his head, like it's hitting him, right? So he's going like this, and then the form changes to a form of a little boy, and he's still hitting him, boom, boom, right on the head, and he's going like this. And I start praying, Our Father who art in heaven, and he leaves. He wakes up and he says, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" I said, "What did you see?" Said, "He was my brother, my little brother. He was hitting me." He's like, "What do you mean, you little brother?" And he told me the story where when they were younger, it was him and his brother were swimming in the lake. And his brother started drowning. And he was trying to save his brother, but he couldn't save him. So his brother died. And ever since then, he would say that his brother was haunting him. That it was his brother doing that to him for not saving his life. And I told him that's not what I seen. So, I had my little holy water, put some holy water on the crosses, on the windows. And he would always tell me to get away from him. He had like green eyes, get away from him. He tried several other times to try to cut himself. But to make a long story short, he knew some of the conditions that I had because of how I fight spiritually. And he was laughing when he was telling me this. He said, "I know what you got." And I said, "What do I got if I got it?" And he was laughing, and he told me that I had epilepsy. And I was like, at that time I was a young buck sergeant, I was full of energy. I wasn't worried about any kind of condition, right? And he was laughing when he was telling me this. And then I just didn't think about it. I think he's just talking mess, right? Well, Sergeant Major finally chaptered him out of the military, got rid of him. Not even a week when he got chaptered out of the military, he took his life. Like a couple of months later, I was diagnosed that I had epilepsy from a blow to the head when I was in the military, when I flew out of a tank. But he knew this. Whatever was within him knew what was the matter with me. Uh, but God, rest his soul. It's hard for me to say that when somebody does that. The only thing I can put them in prayer, and I've done that, pray for them all the time. Name was Sergeant Edwards. But the hellhounds, they come in various forms. It's not technically just the form of a hellhound. They come in other forms that they do the same thing as a hellhound. When the hellhound surfaces up, it's because there's death. You could say they work with death. So that's when all these things surface up, when there's death. That's why I asked the question: were there signs of the Mothman spotted on the bridge that caved in? Dark figures, hellhounds, they're surfaced up because normally when something tragic happens, that's what surfaces up. I hope everybody is doing good and y'all enjoying the stories that I'm talking to y'all about. The hellhounds, they go when there's death. I've seen the hellhounds and I've seen this shadow-like figures, pretty big. I would say 9 to 10 foot tall. They look like they had some kind of robe on them, but it's not a robe. It's just the form that they take. And I see a lot of these figures around hospitals. I see them where there's cemeteries or where they build a structure over a possible gravesite or Indian burial ground. They surface up because that's where I witnessed them a lot. And I believe that a lot of people get these things confused with a lot of things that the people believe in, right? But they've been around us for a very long time. Sometimes when they surface up, if you have dogs, when it's something very evil or very unclean, the dog will make this weird howling sound that is letting you know that there's something unclean around, It's letting you know, hey, there's something here. That's when you go into prayer. It would happen to me a lot when I lived in South Texas, where the dog will make a horrible howl, and normally when that would happen, there was always somebody passing away, whether it be a neighbor, whether it be an accident, something in nature would happen, I don't know if y'all ever witnessed something like that. It's like when that happens, somebody always passes away. Something tragic happens. But these beings, I could call them death, hellhounds, or disembodied demonic Nephilim, because that's what they do. They're mischievous, and they like to take souls. They don't care how they take it. They don't care if a person jumps off a bridge. They don't care if a person is intoxicated behind the wheel driving. They don't care. They're just there to collect the soul of whoever has a spiritual opening. That's what they do. As y'all seen, I haven't been out too much investigating out there in the wood line, because there's been too much activity happening out here within where I live, where I know it's coming from that area. There was a lady that was driving a BMW, passing right in front of the area where I go investigate. Her vehicle stopped in the middle of the highway, just completely shut off on her. A semi that was right behind her came and killed her. That's kind of activity that's happening. No different than when I go investigate, that my camera shuts off on me, right? That's what they do. that have those capabilities. But on that highway, there's been so many accidents where, and not little accidents, is where people are dying. And I believe that's how they do things, within the cryptic community, we've lost a lot of people. I believe that some people that we lost might have gotten a negative attachment for this DDN, and they caused them to be ill, and they didn't know how to get it off of them because they didn't even know they were being spiritually attacked, and they're not here amongst us no more. That's why I always tell everybody, when you go investigate, prepare yourself before, during, and after, because they follow. If you don't take authority over them and say, hey, you're not welcome to follow me home, stay in this area, you're not welcome. If you don't take that authority and say that, then they're going to follow. They'll follow. It doesn't matter where you go, they follow. That's why you have to take authority over them in Jesus Christ's name. There was one day that I was training. This when I used to live in Elms Grove. There was a fog that came through. A fog, a mist. There was a mist around me in the yard. A mist. As there was a mist around me in the yard, out of the mist was two big dogs. And I don't know what kind of dogs they were. I've never seen something that huge. They were massive. They were way bigger than me. There was two of them, and they were circling me around. My sister opened the door and she seen them, and she's like, whoa. I said, where did they come from? And I told her, stay inside. I was praying with it myself. They were just circling around me like they see me as a meal or something, right? So I'm praying again. I'm praying, and then the next thing you know, they just leave, and the fog leaves also with them. But I've had those experiences where that has happened. Now, with those dogs letting me know, hey, you're sick, or were they letting me know, we're here to collect, but you're not ready, So in that kind of way, it's like, it's when I started walking a lot. I would do a lot of exercise. That's one thing that people don't understand is when you exercise, it reverses a lot of things. Your health becomes better, but you have to exercise. I try to exercise, and every time I go try to exercise, like for right now, I've been sick. But when I go walk, something always happens, where it prevents me from getting the exercise that I need to do. So I exercise inside my home, but I'm trying to do the cardio, trying to keep busy, It just feels sometimes that this forces are preventing me from doing that, or they're stopping me from being me, from trying to do me, what I do, what I like to do. And like I said, they try to target my son. And that's why, I'm the head of the household here, so I take authority over him. And I rebuke them in Jesus Christ's name. I tell my son, if you see anything out of the ordinary, son, if something's trying to offer you something or make a deal with it, rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, because it's nothing good. It's trying to deceive you. It's trying to deceive you from your birthright to make it into the kingdom of heaven. So that's what they do. If they can't mess with you, they can't put you down. They try to mess with your loved ones. Excuse me real quick. That's why we share wisdom and knowledge to our loved ones. How you doing, Sister B? My sister knows. My sister B, she was there, brothers and sisters, in Elms Grove. See, when I lived in Elms Grove, it was just me, my son. It was me, my son, my sister, and her children. They witnessed a lot of things. They were like, hey, how come you didn't get us to come out on the show with you? We would have said all the things that we've seen and witnessed there, Just put it this way. Everybody had bad dreams. Till this day, I think they even talk about still that they have so much bad dreams that it takes them back to the location. Like they're still living there in that mobile home in Elms Grove. Sometimes that happens to me. So I just, when I wake up, I pray against it. I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. But when you experience those things, you'll never forget about it, you know? There's people that would always question me. They were like, I think you're full of it. You know, there was this, this guy that was in the military. His brothers would come to our house, and his name was Chris. And I'll tell his brother, hey, don't go over there because there's something there. You know, stay away from that area. So he told his brother that I'll tell him to stay away from the area. His brother was just barely coming from, I believe, the Iraqi war, right? And he said, he yelled my name. This is like 2-3 in the morning, 2:30, 2:45. He yelled my name and he says that I'm full of crap, you know, full of shit. Excuse my language. So he comes walking down the street, you know, it's 2:30 in the morning. I was sitting on my picnic table, and he tells me that he don't believe anything that I said, told his brothers that I'm a liar and all this kind of stuff. And he says, take me to that area. I'm going to show you there's nothing there, that it's all in your imagination. And I was like, look, man, I live here. I see what happens around here. I don't think you want to go over there. You've been drinking. That's a no-no already right off the bat. You've been drinking. It's not a good idea to go over there drunk. That's a spiritual opening. Like, I'm in the military, blah, blah, blah. I used to be in the military. You know, I was a tough guy. And I said, look. Then he kept on cussing at me. It's all right. You're going to, I was like, you're going to learn the hard way, buddy. You know? So I said, come on, let's go. So we're walking, and I said, look, we're walking through the park. It's probably like, I would say like 75 to 100 meters to get to the swing set. She said, look, this is a swing set that my son and my friend's daughter were sitting at. I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to sit right here. I'm not even going to walk into the path. There's the path right there. You said there's nothing there. The path is right there. So as I point towards the path, this what happens. You could hear a woman laughing from the wood line right off the bat. And he said, who's that? Who's there? Who's there? I hear you. He says, identify yourself. And then you hear the woman laugh again. A voice of a woman laughing twice. So I'm sitting there on the picnic table and I say, hey, man, I think we need to go. We don't need to be here. Let's go. See, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of what's out here. So he starts taking off his shirt. He takes off his pants. He's in his boxers. He raises up his hands and he's like, I'm going in. You know, I'm going in. So he starts walking towards the woods, by the edge of the woods where the woman was laughing, right? He said, I'm going in. He's going in like this. And next thing you know, I hear him screaming like, ah, 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 ah. And I don't know what's going on. You know, he's caught up right there in the edge of the wood line. When he turns around, he's bleeding from all jugular places. He's bleeding from the neck, from the wrist. He's bleeding from behind the knees, from the ankles. He comes running, grabs his clothes off the ground, and takes off running. I've never seen somebody run so fast. It was a white guy. He was running fast, and his boxers with his clothes in his hands. He didn't even put them on. He just took off running, left me there by myself. So I just started praying and walked away from that area, you know. So it's like 2 weeks passed by. I don't hear a peep from him. Comes knocking on my door, and he said, I want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to you because whatever's there is very evil. And it's like, what do you mean it's very evil? He said, well, he said when he was in combat, right? When he was in combat, that he tried to take his life numerous times because of the violence and the deaths that were happening around him. He said all those areas that he got targeted on that evening was the areas where he would cut himself. And that whatever was there knew that he had a spiritual opening because he was up suicide. He moved out of that park. I don't know whatever happened to him, but he moved out of there. So basically what I'm saying is, for those that are not spiritually prepared to go into an area, if you have something like he had, that he tried to take his life, if you're living in sin, cheating on your significant other, or you have some kind of hatred or anger, please don't go out there and investigate when you have the spiritual openings, because they will easily attack you. They'll attack you just like they attacked him. They can even bong you, right? Because it's like you're giving in to them by having the spiritual openings. When you go into an area like that, you have to be spiritual ready. There was people that had other beliefs. They came, they heard through, because my wife's sister was in the military. So she bought some people that were into paranormal, and some were Wiccan, they said they could teleport out of their body, they could see what's in the area. So they came with their beliefs, and I said, look, this is what I told them. How you doing, Brother Alfred? How you doing, Sister Marguerita? I would tell them, all right, sis, that's good. Good to hear. I would tell them, whatever you do, don't think that, how would I tell them? Because some of these people didn't believe in Jesus Christ. So they were there to try to challenge whatever was there. They would say that they had the abilities to get rid of anything that's there in that area, to close a portal and all this kind of stuff, right? I will tell them, hey, be careful what you say. So I go in there through Jesus Christ, and I've been fighting spiritually for a while now. I don't think that if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, I believe they're going to attack you. They were like, oh, they're not going to do nothing. There was a girl, that one that said she could teleport out of her body and all this kind of stuff, right? And she was talking all kinds of mess on the picnic table. And I will tell her, don't say that. They're listening. She's like, oh, there's nothing listening. I'm not afraid of what's there. That she was trained this way, blah, blah, blah. Got dark. Went to the path. I did the sign of the cross. I prepared myself spiritually. She said, take me to the location where you heard the woman crying for help. So I stood on the bend and I pointed where it was at, I didn't go all the way to where the location was. I stood on the bend where it curves to go to that location. He said, you can stay right there. I'm not afraid of what's here. So she goes there and stands right where I was standing when I was facing those 6 tall beings or demonic beings that I witnessed. Not even, I would say 20 to 30 seconds. She says, oh my God, what is that? Next thing you know, she's running, passes me by on the bend, and this giant red orb, I'm not talking about massive, chasing her down. By the time I walk out of the path, I find her laying down in the path. I have to pick her up. She's got, what she has is bumps all over her face, all over her body. Bumps that came out of nowhere. We had to pick her up. We took her all the way to the vehicle. As she's sitting by the vehicle, has no energy. She starts seeing the shadow figures. And she starts describing the things that I witnessed. And I'm looking to where she's pointing at, and I'm not seeing nothing. but she's describing exactly what I've encountered before. The things that I was fighting spiritually. So I told my friends, hey, you need to get her out of here because they're trying to drain her. They're trying to do her harm. So they got in the vehicle and they left the park. She never came back. There was a young gentleman that said he was Wiccan, and he went there twice. The both times that he went there, he got dropped 2 times. He got dropped 2 times, and I never seen him again. But I'm just sharing with y'all, brothers and sisters, that to me, of what I witnessed, what I experienced through my spiritual wisdom and knowledge, that if we're going to do something, fight spiritually against the unseen, we have to maintain a love foundation, but most importantly, place Jesus Christ first when we do this. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to do it through Jesus Christ's name. That's how we're able to overcome these unseen forces. Just like when I talk about the disembodied demonic Nephilim. Now, there's claims that people say about a giant that was found somewhere in Afghanistan or somewhere over there called the Condor Giant or something like that, right? I've looked into it, and trust me when I say this, I have connections that'll let me know if something crazy is happening, because I have friends that are in the military still, and I got friends that still work for the government up in Washington. That do special projects with special equipment, the new equipment that they got. That he still works for the company that produces all the equipment. If there was something that was real in that nature, trust me, I would have heard about it. The only thing I can say is this: if there was such a giant, why would the giant be in hiding in a cave? If it was that big of a giant, it would walk Earth with no fear, right? If it was a real giant. And if there was a real giant, there would have to be a body of when he supposedly got killed, or bodies, names of the people that died in that area. There should be, they say a platoon of people that died in the area. That should have the names of all the people that died there. Another thing, if it was true that to say that it was killed there, you would figure it would have some kind of den inside this cave where there's all kinds of dead animals in there, right? Of whatever they were feeding them, there will be some kind of evidence of that. Of what I understand, what I read, it said it was a make-believe story that soldiers were saying, where something that we're doing was making up stories, whether it's true or not. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you if it's true or not, but I know one thing, that the disembodied demonic Nephilim do exist, and those are the ones that were once the Nephilim giants, that they're amongst us. We know them as demons, but they're amongst us in disembodied form. They don't have a body. They don't have a body, but that's why they possess. They possess bodies temporarily to destroy the host, because they hate us, because we have the opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. They don't, because they were created as an offspring by the Watchers. So they will never make it into the kingdom of heaven, and the fate is sealed. That's why they hated God, right? When they were destroying everything before the flood, they were destroying anything that God created. They were destroying everything. That's why God created the flood, to destroy the Watchers, in which He did. People say, well, the Condor Giant, trust me, if there was a giant somewhere, we will all be able to witness it. We'll be all be able to see it. If there was a giant, it would have been captured by now. The government has the technology. It has weapons to be able to do something like that. But what they can't capture is what's in disembodied form. The disembodied Nephilim, what was left after the flood, they destroyed the body, but couldn't. They still live in demonic. We call them demons. The disembodied form, which means spirit form. Those are the ones that are deceiving people. They have demonic capabilities. They can manifest into anything beastly. Whatever form it wants to take, they can take it. It can be an animal, it can be a person, it can be something that looks beastly like a werewolf, what people call Bigfoots. They have those capabilities. They have capabilities to speak to you in different languages. Old language, because that's where they're from a long time ago. They'll speak to you in those capabilities. Their capabilities are making different noises of animals. They speak to you, like I said, in any language. But the question is, or should I say, can't get too close to them because they travel in numbers. They travel in many. So when they travel in many, what they're actually trying to do is try to find a spiritual opening on you to try to attach themselves to you or spiritually attack you. That's one of the reasons I kind of stopped going out there making videos, because I got tired of fighting them spiritually, because they will surface up. Whether I'm looking at them through my parallel vision or I can see them standing right behind me. You know, when you can see somebody standing behind you? When my servants will get cut off out there in the woods, I see them standing right behind me, looking at me. I'm in prayer when they're doing this. And then they move real fast. I have the proof that there are not flesh beings. I have the proof that there are the disembodied demonic Nephilim that I speak of. That they are demonic in nature. And I have a lot of that proof through my short reels on my TikToks and short reels that I placed on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters here on Facebook and on YouTube. I have the proof, the spiritual proof that there are demonic. I'm not going to say in the flesh, because if they were in the flesh, then I would have a body, right? I will have a body to show you, hey, here it is. Who's the ones that believe in the dogmen and the Bigfoots? Here you go. I got the body right here. You know, here's the body bag. Here's the body that it exists in the flesh. Well, I don't have no body to say that it's legit in the flesh. But I do have proof, spiritual proof, that there are demonic in nature. That's what I've been saying all along. I've been saying this for a very long time, that there are demonic in nature. They'll deceive you, they'll trick you. They're very mischievous. You can say evil. Like I said, they travel in numbers. You know what travels in numbers? Or in many? The legion. Well, they're all the same. They're demonic. And that's how they travel. But I have the proof. Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. If you don't want to look through all the stuff that I have here on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters or on YouTube, look at the short reels that I've captured on my TikTok under ApeCS. I believe it's ApeCS 685. I can't remember the number, but look under ApeCS. You'll be able to see them on the move, how fast they can move. They're not moving in regular motion like an animal that's in the flesh will move. They're moving in a different capacity of movement. They move like if they're part of Mother Nature itself. They move like the wind, faster than the wind. You know, when we say wind, we think about Wendigo. They move in that nature. They move through the shadows. They use the elements to surface up. You know, that's what they do. That's how they surface up. And if they can drain your energy, they'll drain your energy. If you're living in an area where there's a lot of limestone, they use that energy to manifest. That's why I carry my selenite as protection, my black tourmaline as protection, but of course the ultimate protector is Jesus Christ. But I have to carry extra resources with me because sometimes, you know, like I said, they just want to drain you. I'm still recuperating from an injured toe. The last time that I went out there to investigate, you know, one of them jumped on my neck. I couldn't see it, but I could feel the weight on me. You know, that my legs started trembling because there was so much weight on me. So as I was having a lot of heaviness on me, I could feel the pressure on my toe. I say, I tied by the rebuke in Jesus Christ's name, and he left. But the damage was done. I said I felt that weight for a good 5 to 6 seconds, and that's all it took. My toe is still messed up. My left toe, ever since that encounter. You know, they tried to drag me down from the neck area. But there was nothing there physically. It was done spiritually. That's what people don't understand, that these beings, they can attack physically or spiritually. How do they attack physically? When you give it the belief factor. When you start believing in it. When you start believing in it, that's the opening, the only opening it needs to attack you. You're going to get attacked physically or spiritually, either or both at the same time, because you've left an opening of the belief factor. If you get out your weapon, for those that are hunters, get out your weapon and shoot at it, you're just going to be wasting your bullets. It's a waste of money. Rounds cost a lot of money. Why are you wasting your bullets on something that's demonic in nature? You know, it's a waste of bullets. You shouldn't think through the illusion of its manifestation, just shooting through air. The best way to fight it would be fighting it spiritually. You tie, bind, and rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, and when it disappears right in front of you, and it smells like pestilence, or it leaves a sulfur smell, then you know that you was dealing with something demonic. Put it to the test. That's all I can tell you. I'll put it to the test. I'll put it to the test. Doesn't matter what form it takes. When I can sense it spiritually, and if I see that it's nothing of good, I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. It'll disappear, leave a sulfur smell or a pestilence smell. Sometimes they get pissed off and come. When I used to live in Elms Grove, they would get pissed off. They were manifested around my home, in which they would leave a stench on my doorways, or a stench where they were manifest by my door or my sliding door, and there would be a stench or smell like something peed or something a very bad smell around my home, where they were manifesting around my home, you know. How doing, Brother Bruce Wyndham? I know we got Brother Jesus Carvajal here. How long have I been speaking on here? Oh man, I've been going at it for a while now. It's 8:18. I know, Brother Jesus Carvajal, you want to join? If you want to join, send me a request. I'll add you. Or if you want to join Sister B, let me know. I know Sister B witnessed them. Look, when your house gets infiltrated by the enemy, which that happened to my house in Elms Grove, they were literally opening the doors, whether it was the front door or the sliding door. They could open it and close it. and they'll be roaming through the hallways where they were picking into the doorways. They were real tall, and they would look down like that from on top of the frame of the door. They'll be looking like this. That's how tall they were. You know, I would witness them like that. My sister would witness them all the time. Or in my bedroom, I had a little gap, and I would witness like somebody was looking through the little gap because the light of the kitchen was on. So when I would go look at the gap, I could see somebody moving. I open the door, and it would go around my cabinets. So I'll go around the cabinets, and I could see it's closing the sliding door, looking at me. I would see this ugly woman, like all black. You can see the face, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her. When I'll go open the sliding door, she's taking off, gliding for like 3-4 feet off the ground, gliding. And as I'm chasing her, and I say, identify yourself, I'm telling her, identify yourself. How you doing, cousin Tommy Robles? I said, identify yourself. She will go into the trees. Literally go, and she was in disembodied form, go into the trees. So that's another one for y'all. I've heard it from the cryptid community where they have witnessed Dogman and Bigfoots going into trees. Something that's in the flesh is not going to go into a tree. It's going to get knocked out by a tree. If it's in the flesh, they're going to run into the tree. They're going to get hit by the tree. So there's another, should I say, something to think about. Something that has the ability to go into an ominate, whether it's a tree or an object. It is not of the flesh. It's in spirit form or disembodied form. That's the only way that can happen. Why would it be able to go into a tree? Well, a tree does have some kind of energy where the sun hits it and it's got energy, so it uses it as a source. But I'm just saying that for those of people that believe that there's Bigfoots and Dogmans and that they're, or any kind of cryptid, that they're real, they do not have that ability to go into the trees like that. It would have to be because they're of demonic nature, or maybe it's a native Indian burial ground. You're dealing with a shapeshifter or a Wendigo, right? You're dealing with certain things like that, certain entities that are / demonic. A lot of those shamans and people that dealt with that were taught the necromancy, they were taught by what they call the Bigfoots or Sasquatch. That's what taught them the necromancy, which will make them demonic. There's some things that people don't talk about. The natives know all this. They just, they know where the source comes from. I don't need to smoke a pipe or do any shrooms to know what's around me spiritually. But I know one thing that works real good, and natives use this, is, when they do the, how do you call it? When the teepees, the smoke, the sage and all that, you're able to see what's around you spiritually through the sage, because if there's something in spirit form with a smoke, it's going to manifest through the smoke. My great-great-grandmother used to do that with the sage, and I could see this werewolf-like creatures around me, like right beside me. They were massive. And my great-great-grandmother, her name was Ma Lola. She was a spiritual woman. That's what she would do. She would see him, and she would look at him, and she would tell him, leave him alone. Get out of my house. Leave him alone. So it's nothing new for me for this, what I capture in the video. This has been all my life. They've been around in that nature. Yeah, I don't know if B's here anymore or not. But my Lola, she would see him all the time. My mom would say, hey, there's something happening with Abe. And she would light up the sage, and she'd be having a cigar, the sage, and blow it in my face, and next thing you know, they're right there beside me, like probably like 2-3 feet away from me, just standing right there by me. You know, this through the smoke you could see the beastly like form of what you people want to call Bigfoot, what people want to call Dogman, if they want to call it demonic, Didian, whatever. You could see him standing right beside me, looking at me, and through the smoke they would open their jaw and close it like they're trying to bite me. You know, through the smoke. That's when my great grandmother, my Lola, would say to leave, and they turn around and leave her home through the smoke. But that's what she would do. The reason I go investigate it at daytime, brothers, is I'm going to tell you why. The ultraviolet rays of the sun. That's why they hide in the shadows. They're afraid of the ultraviolet rays of the sun because it blows their cover, the spiritual cover. The ultraviolet rays of the sun, when it hits them, you're able to see their manifestation. That's why they hide within the woods, because they don't want to be seen. But sometimes when they're coming at numbers and they're trying to attack you, and you're moving, you're doing a live like I'm doing right now, and I'm moving my camera around because I'm going where I'm sensing something, or I'm hearing something. I'm hearing a growl, or a sound of a pig, or somebody saying something. I'm hearing a voice of a little girl, of a woman, of a man, or they're talking a different language. I move the camera around, right? So when I go back and debunk my video where all that activity was happening, that's how I capture the pictures that I capture, because they break their spiritual cover, because they come at me into the ultraviolet rays of the sun, and that blows their cover, and you're able to see their silhouette. You're able to see how they look, because they're breaking their cover in that sensible way. That's why I go and investigate during the night. I know people go at nighttime because they're trying to find a heat signature with their night vision equipment. They're trying to find a heat signature of something that's in the flesh. Good luck with that. Was a Bigfoot expedition. They never got a heat signature of anything of any kind of creature. Listen to me. During the day, the ultraviolet rays of the sun will give its position away, in which you don't need no night vision goggles, because it's during the day and you're able to capture it through your equipment. But like I said, it's kind of like you're putting yourself out there in the line when you do this. That's what I've been doing for a while now. Putting myself out there in the line to try to awaken my brothers and sisters spiritually, in this, whether they're spiritual, whether within the paranormal community, whether they're in the cryptic community. I'm trying to give these individuals wisdom and knowledge. Okay, I see. Yeah, cousin Jesse wants to join. But yes, brothers and sisters.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm saying good evening.
How
How you
you
doing,
doing,
cousin
brother?
Jesus?
Dude, I'm a little tired. Did a little light yard work, so
Yeah, I've been pretty sick for about this is like 10th, 11th day now. Allergies, but I'm doing a little bit better. Yeah, what's up with
yeah.
her hair, man? We're losing it, man. What the
Hey
hell?
man, that's what I call a retreating hairline.
Yeah,
It's losing the bottle.
yeah. What do you think? The conversation I'm having about all this, Primo?
Man, I'm enjoying the show, man. I'm remembering when I saw my own hellhound. It treed me in a tree and kept me there till the
Can
sun
you share
came
that
up.
story with us, real here? You know, sharing is caring. Tell us how it
Well,
happened. Where were you at? Where did this happen at?
it was here in Fort Worth, man. I had been out partying with my friend Slick, who he's been dead now 2 years, so he can't back me up on it anymore. But I went and dropped him off. And I remember, man, I was hella high, man. I had red eyes, I'm thinking. But, you know, that's back when I used to smoke marijuana. And I was walking toward our house, and all of a sudden, my hair stood up on the back of my neck. I turned around, man, and I saw this black dog with red eyes, man, just running at me. So I took off running, man, and it was gaining on me. There was no way I could outrun it. So the next thing you know, I'm climbing a tree. The good thing I was like 14 years old, so I could actually climb a tree back then. And I climbed up, man, and it was looking up at the tree. Eyes were all red, man, and it was making a weird howling sound. And I just stayed up in the tree. I thought I lost my buzz because of the damn dog, man. I just sat there till like 6:30, and then it just vanished.
It just disappeared right underneath the
Yeah,
tree.
yeah.
You know, let's say sometimes when you're in the bad road, that the bad things will come to scare you
Yeah.
like that. So you get scared, and it keeps you on the road that you're on. You know, it's kind of like you know the saying when they say, "I don't go to church because every time I go to church, bad things happen to me." The reason the bad things happen is because they don't want you to go to the church, trying to keep
Back
you away
then,
from the church.
back then, I really was. When I was in my teens, man, you know I was on a bad road, man. I was on the road to destruction. And, you know, we didn't listen to nobody. My dad would whoop our ass, and it's like if he didn't even whoop our ass, man, he whooped our ass every day, and we still did everything that we did the day before. We weren't learning nothing, man. And then that happened, and I stopped for a little bit, man, but you know how peer pressure can be. And I went back to what I was doing. Then I went to the valley, and then I met that big old thing that picked up your truck, and the thing that tried to drag me under the bed, the damn peekaboo dude that was in the back of your house. So yeah, man, I was on a bad road, man.
The smiley man by the window.
Yeah, I saw him too, man. I liked his hat, but I didn't like the way he looked.
He just had a smile, and he had the white eyes, and he would go like that by the window screen. He
Go
wanted
like
you to,
that.
yeah, he was trying to get you to touch. That's what he did to me. He would always, this is what would happen, because I would look at the stars, and then next thing he just pop, it would pop like that, and it would be right in front of me, and he had to see the white, like a white teeth and the white eyes, and it would go like this. He was trying to get me to put my palm by the screen, and I lay down and covered my eye, with a blanket, and I had a little hole, and it'd be looking at me down like this, where I was laying down, looking at me like that. I
Yeah,
could
that's
see it.
good. Now at least you can see my
Yeah,
face.
he could see me, look going like this, and then after a while, it will leave. But
You
I
know what I
believe that
remember also, man?
that area where we used to live, there used to be an
I
old
remember,
cemetery.
I remember
My
also,
understanding, I
man.
heard it was a cemetery at one time.
Yeah, that place where we lived at on here in Fort Worth. It used to be a cemetery, man, and I remember, man, we used to like go under the house, the next door, and there was a trap door, man,
Oh
and
wow!
they had stairs going down, and it went all the way to downtown, man, and there was nothing but coffins lined up like that, man, all the way down.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I remember one time we were down there, man, and we heard a noise, and as far as we knew, there was nobody there. When we heard that noise, man, everybody ran back to where we came in, and we never went back. But yeah, man, that thing went down like this, and then it went all the way to downtown, and there was chambers where there was nothing but coffins.
Oh wow!
Yeah, yeah,
There's I was under the city.
yeah. And I don't know how there was an access underneath the house on the corner. There was an access point where you could open up a little door, a little trap door, and it went under there, man. And we found that by accident. We're just trying to find somewhere where my dad wouldn't find us doing what we were doing. And yeah, we found that place like that, man. And funny, dude, that on the way over there was an actual graveyard on top of the cement wall ceiling. there's an old graveyard that goes that way toward downtown, and we were so far down there that that thing went under the Trinity River, man. It went under the Trinity
Yeah,
River.
there's a lot of underground obstacles everywhere, man, that people don't know. I know some certain locations on Fort Hood, around Fort Hood area, where you can see there's like openings, like they're made out of cement, and there's a tunnel. I just never got the courage to go through the tunnel to see what's there,
Bro,
to
we
see
had fake courage.
to see where it leads. That tunnel that I'm speaking of was near the area where I found the den of dead animals, where there was a Doberman with his spine ripped out of his back.
Oh
So,
wow.
you know, my son was there. He remembers this. He was already like in fifth grade. And I told my son, let's get the hell out of here, son. And we left. But,
There was also that place in Raymondville, man, where that was that one house on the dirt road that had those palm trees
yeah,
where those clowns used to appear. You remember?
down, yeah, the big palm trees over there down, by the nuns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That house is still there, man, I think.
yeah, there's a lot of activity that happens over there, but there's been a lot of deaths also that I believe has to do with the paranormal activity. No, especially on the roadside park in Removille, Texas.
They don't exist no more.
Doesn't exist no
No,
more.
they,
That's
they
what.
got rid of it, man. They
That's what
closed it.
my
They were
friend.
finding
A lot of people got killed there,
they were
right?
finding too many dead people over there, man. So they closed it. There's nothing there no more, man.
Yeah, a lot of. That's what happens when there's a lot of crookedness, but evil, man, evil people.
So at night, right there, man. Since I used to walk over there every night, because we lived out that way, there was always what I believe now was a skinwalker in the form of in the shape of a cow.
A cow.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
believe it.
and every night that I walked over there, man, that I walked home, because you remember we used to walk the 2.5 miles to get home.
Yeah.
Right when I passed the roadside park, that cow would start moving, and it wouldn't stop moving, and it would follow me all the way down to the end of the pasture, man, moving. So
Oh wow.
now I thought it was a cow then, but now I believe it was a skinwalker.
Yeah. There's a lot of locations down there where my grandfather, he would say, "Don't ever go over there at nighttime." He would tell me, "Don't go there at nighttime. There's a lot of evil stuff that happens over there."
Well,
So it was over there by past that bridge, towards that direction where I was telling you the story where the priest took me. Past that
yeah,
bridge in that vicinity, he was
yeah.
saying not to
Now
go there at nighttime because there was a lot of activity that would happen there. A lot of
I barely remember our grandfather, man, because of what happened with my mom and my dad. Y'all got to know him better than we did. We were told to never go to his house.
yeah. He was always what people. He was always working in agriculture, so he would work day and night. So if somebody knew what was out there, it would be him. Because I would hear the stories of what he would run to out there when he was out there. Uh, he was he would irrigate the fields at nighttime, and he's always working day and night, for the Beasleys. I think their last name was Beasley, and they owned a lot of land. So, but he would tell me not to go to those areas because there's some evil stuff over there. He would always say that when he passed away, that he was going to be a shadow figure. That's what he was saying. Why he would say that, I do not know.
Hmm.
But
I don't know, man. I have no memories of him. I only have one memory of him, man, and we were living at Tio Poncho's house right there across the street from the LC Smith. And me and Joe were walking from the pool, and we walked by his house, and he was out there, I think, with the Tio Guindo. And he stopped us. He sat us on the back of his pickup, and he goes, "Where y'all going?" I said, we're going home. And he's like, you shouldn't be out here in the streets. There's that bird that's stealing people and cattle. That big
Yeah,
bird that was back in the big
yep,
building.
yep.
And I remember he gave us a buck a piece and sent us on our way. But yeah, man, my dad found out we went there and he got mad. I already told you not
Yeah,
to be going over there.
he knew a lot of things, you know. He just, you know, down there, you got a lot of witchcraft in South Texas. So a lot of these people that are kin, they're are brushed against all this. Kind of like what happened to me, you know, where I had to go to Mexico with the medicine woman. That we opened up spiritually since we were kids, but we know we all have our own faith. I mean, our own fate, and we choose a path that we want to be on.
It's
But yeah,
like I told you.
there was a lot of things that were happening spiritually where he was being spiritually attacked, where he said he was being drugged throughout the window. It was literally getting grabbed from his bed, being drugged out through the window. You know, and he would
It's
say it
like,
was what happened to him. He used to be a fisherman, right? He used to go fishing on the weekends. He had his boat. Remember the boat in the backyard? He
yeah,
had a boat back there. Well, he was there at Port Mansfield fishing, and his boat flipped over because there was I guess a hurricane or something coming through or a bad storm. His boat flipped over, so he was treading water, and the waves were pretty high. And he said, "This in he seen something in the wave, and he's saying it was my grandmother, which is your grandmother, calling his name, Jose, vente conmigo, you know, vente conmigo, come with me." But he said that it changed form, that it didn't, that it wasn't her, you know. So he got scared and he swam back to shore. He could see the light, so he swam back to shore. Ever since that day that happened to him, he never went back fishing. Ever since that happened to him, he never went back fishing.
wow.
Then
No, man.
he said that he followed her home. That's the thing that was trying to drag him out the window.
Oh, crap.
He
But you know,
followed him.
I think it's kind of strange, man, that you and I kind of have the same story, man. Because you said you went to a bruja in Mexico, right? And when my dad had us in Matamoros, that I saw that hand with no arm,
Yeah.
he sent me to live with a blind brujo for a year, man. But the problem is that I remember him coming and picking me up, and I remember him dropping me off. I just don't remember anything that happened in that year that he took me with him.
Hmm.
It's like it was erased from my memory, or he did something so that I wouldn't remember what happened. But ever since that happened, I've been like spiritually aware of things around me. I just don't know what happened for that entire year that I was with him. I have no memory.
Yeah, because you were young. You know, when we're kids, we only remember so much. But as you get older, anything that you've locked up, you know, when you go through something, you lock it up with something good because you don't remember the bad things. All those windows start opening up, all those doors start opening up. You start remembering things. Um,
Yeah. I'm 55 years old, man. I'll be 56 in a couple of
you
months,
know,
man. But I have no memory of that one year that I was away from my family, man.
I remember the time I was with her. I don't remember every day, but I remember what we did. You know,
I remember
we helped out a
zero.
lot of people.
I remember zero of what happened, man. I remember, like I said, I remember him picking me up and me leaving with him, and I remember him bringing me back. But I don't remember what happened in between that. But when I saw that thing in the window, man, it traumatized me so bad, dude, that when it would get dark, that they would lay me down to go to bed. All I could do was scream and cry, man. I was afraid of being in the nighttime, man. I was afraid of the dark.
So you say you seen a bushy hand.
It was a big hand, man, with no arm,
Oh man,
and it was just crawling up the window like this, man. And man, to this day, I'll be honest with you, Primo. I've learned martial arts and I've done what I've done, but to this day, man, like right now it's dark. I don't ever go outside after dark, and I never look out the window.
We got brother Carlito in the house. How you doing, brother
Ah,
Carlito?
Carlitos.
Uh, brother Anthony, sister Holly, and my niece Jennifer, the mess.
Yeah, no, man, I don't look out the windows anymore, man, and I definitely do not go out after dark.
Yeah, we're talking about windows. That's one thing I like to use because it happens. I'm more sure it's happened to everybody in somewhere in their life. Is when you hear the tapping sound, tap, tap, tap,
Oh,
right?
let me tell
And
you,
you're
man.
like, did you hear that? Ah, it's just a little tapping sound. It's just a crack on the house settling or something, right? Then the following day, you hear a knocking sound. Tap, tap, tap. You're like, oh shit, what was that? You hear that? Yeah, it sounded like somebody was knocking. Then the following day, it goes to a pounding sound. Boom, boom, boom. Uh,
Oh,
what people don't understand is that is getting feeding off your energy because you're believing in the tap, you're believing in the knock, and then you're believing in the pounding sound. So it's what we're supposed to do. What I do as soon as I hear the tapping sound, I say, "You're not welcome here." I type bind and rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. Put I put the stop to it right off the bat because I don't want it to grow spiritually.
Primo, 2 days ago, I was in my room and the extension cord that I have stuff plugged into was making popping sounds, man. And it was like really weird, man, because it's never done that before. And it did that for like an hour. So I finally said, "You need to go. Don't come here no more." And then it stopped. But
Yeah,
it just freaked me out that it was making popping sounds. I thought I was going to get electrocuted that night.
yeah. But that's how it starts. If you don't take authority over it, it'll gain ground on you. And next thing you know, you're gonna hear footsteps running inside your home, scratchings, pounding on the walls, running on top of the roof. If your house is on pillars, pounding out the house because you didn't take authority over it through Jesus Christ's name. When people say, "Oh, I got all these things happening in my house," it's because you have to take authority. You're the head of the household, so you have to take authority and tell it, "Hey, you're not welcome here. Leave."
Oh,
Because if not,
also,
it's
I was
gonna.
going to say,
If not, they're gonna think you're like Whataburger, open 24 hours. They're gonna be messing with you.
I was going to tell you, I went to visit Joe's great granddaughter, and she's got a little kid, so that's Joe's great granddaughter, right? And she told me that she slept in the living room, and they were having poltergeist activity in the kitchen.
Oh,
Chairs moving, cabinets opening and closing, and the stuff in the cabinets flying out. Well, when she told me that, I told her that they needed to take authority over it. But the only one that could do that was her grandmother.
yeah.
Well, her grandmother died of a heart attack last week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of strange, man, because it happened like really fast. She was there, the next day she wasn't. Died of a heart attack. So it's like I told her, you need to protect your daughter because they're after her life.
Yeah,
And like I said, the grandma wound up dead like about a week later after she told me that.
yeah. Some people, some are afraid to take authority, and then some are because they might be dabbling with something. So whatever's around there doing all that activity because he's got some kind of jurisdiction, but it's up to the individual. For anybody that doesn't make a spiritual stance, makes you wonder. It's like, well, what's the deal with them? How come they're not? You don't want that kind of activity at your house. Why is the head of the household not taking authority over it? Are they afraid? What the story behind that? They dabble in
Mhm.
something. So it's and if he can get what he want, then he's going to go after whoever it can, right?
Well,
Uh,
she was the head of the household. I don't know who could take
yeah.
care of it now because they got taken
Did
out.
a lot of the activity stop now after that?
I haven't talked to them, man, but like I said, if she was the head of the household and couldn't get it under control, it's gonna run amok now.
Yeah. Well, now she's gone. Hopefully, whatever was there is gone too. And not somebody else is going to have to take authority over it in Jesus Christ's name, and get it out of there.
Yep, yep. That's what I told her. I told her she had to tie, bind, and
Yeah,
rebuke it in the name of
I
Jesus.
remember all these dark people that the devil with this and devil with that would always come up. Hey, when I was a kid, all the way up to now, like they could see the light within me and stuff, and they come and try to tell me this, tell me that, but I wouldn't buy into what they're telling me because I knew where I stood spiritually. But I run into some people that they were like, they were like, "You're one of us. You're one of us." I said, "What do you mean I'm one of you?" I said, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" And then they're like, "You're one of us." I said, "If you're talking about that you believe in Jesus Christ, then yes, I'm one of you. But if you're not, the only thing I have to tell you is don't try to do nothing to me because it'll go back to you." You know, a dude that was telling me there was a man I met in a bus, and I was coming from a VA appointment. I took this bus called the Hop to go back to Killeen. I was trying it out, and he had this like an amulet in his hand, and he was like he had a Puerto Rican accent telling me you're one of us, like he was trying to do something. And I said, I told him, if you have children, you have grandchildren, please don't try to do nothing because it will go back to you or to one of them because that's how it works. Then he just put it back in his pocket and put his hand out, and that's the last time I ever seen the man.
Wow. Nah, man.
I've been through the spiritual battles where I run into people that they firmly stand with the other side, they let me know who they are. That whether it's I ran into a voodoo priestess that was mad with me because I guess somebody put her mother to try to do something to me. And I remember having a dream against this lady that was trying to do voodoo on me, so I prayed against her. She died in Katrina when Katrina hit Louisiana. The lady died, and she was walking on the bridge, and she was telling me, "It's your fault. It's your fault." So then I'm going to the mailbox, and there's this girl come in with a thing on her head, the little red thing, African American, stands right in front of me, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her. And I said, "Look, so I'm just going to tell you like this. You know what happened to whether she was your mom or your grandmother. So if you're here to try to do something back bad to me, just remember what happened to her, and I don't think you want that fate. So please just leave me alone and live my life. It's not like I did something to her. She did it to herself. Then she just turned around and walked away. But she came out of nowhere. It's like I've been through spiritual battles in that sense of a way. I wish that I could record when that happens to me, so people could see that spiritually we're all connected one way or the other. There's good and there's bad, and there's always a spiritual battle happening daily. And I've overcome many of those battles in that form, in that manner. I've run into a lot of people that have a negative attachment on them. They're literally freaking possessed. Where I was telling the people, the lady that was at the pool. It was me and my son. We were swimming, and this lady entered the pool and just sat in the pool, and she's looking at me, and she's like, "Oh, there's something on my back," and she went like this, and she pulled out a millipede off her back,
Oh hell no.
and she threw it out of the pool, and like, man, there's no bugs in here. I was like, I'm looking at her, my son's swimming. He's like, oh, I feel something else. She went like that. There was a roach. She threw it out of the thing. And she's just looking at me. And then she pulled out. She went, I feel something else. It was like a spider, and threw it out of the pool. I said, son, let's go, son. So I'm looking
Why?
at her, and I'm praying within myself. I get my son. I walk out. Go to the house. Take him a shower because he was like 5 years old. They don't. I showed him how to take a shower at a young age, and then I I jump in the shower, after he's done, and I take a shower. Then, my sister's like, hey, hey, there's somebody out here. It seems like it's somebody you might know. They're just standing there looking towards. She's been standing there for about 30 minutes, just looking towards your room. So when I go open the door and look, she's standing in my driveway. Her eyes are rolled back white, just staring, possessed.
Oh,
So I start praying, our Father who art in heaven, rebuking in Jesus Christ's name, and she takes off. I believe the attachment that she had, I knew who she was that she was in an abusive relationship. And I believe that's the opening she had was unforgiveness. She hadn't forgiven the guy that that she was dating hurt her real bad. She had cuts all over her body. Excuse me real quick. I had prayed for her, and I guess the negative attachment she brought from New York wasn't too happy that I prayed for her. So decided to show itself to me. I don't know whatever happened to her.
because you remember that I told you once that I used to hang out with a palero.
Hmm.
Well, when he was trying to make himself a saint, we went to a ceremony in Houston. They killed a lot of animals. He was dressed in white, and then the his padrino told him that the enemy that was going to destroy him, he had in his house. Okay, and I remember after that we went to the ocean because he was asking the god of the spirit of the ocean to protect him. Well, the how should I say this? The entity that he used to use to do his work betrayed him, man. And when they found him, the animals were eating him in the jungle, man.
Oh wow.
He was cut up into little pieces, man. When they found him, they identified him by a finger. That was the only thing that was left. The animals ate him. He got betrayed by the own entity that used to do his bidding. So yeah, that story right there, man. That actually happened, man, and that's always messed me up, man, because he had already been shot once, and he didn't learn that the spirit he was using was betraying him. So when he went to try to get another spirit to help him, the spirit that was helping him betrayed him, and he died, man. Just thought I'd mention that, man, because like I said, there's no females that can be paleros, man, because of the womanly curse.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
the spirit
The
that they
monthly
work with,
cycle.
the the spirit that they work with requires blood, so no woman can be a palero.
Yeah. How you doing, sister Tia Raquel? I'm calling her sister. She looks like younger than us, cuz.
Yeah, she still looks young. She could pass for a sister. Right, yeah.
La Tia. How
Yeah,
you
man,
doing, Tia?
but the
Yeah.
the house
Maybe
the
maybe
house
maybe one day we'll get you on here, Tia. And we'll talk some emergency room stories. I'm more than
yeah,
sure you got a lot of stories.
I bet you she's seen some
Oh
stuff
yeah.
there at the hospital, man.
Oh, I know she's spiritually gifted too, and I'm more sure she's seen her share of spirits in that emergency room.
She says, "Oh yeah." No, man, the other
I
house
I,
that was
I freaked her out one time. One time, I was having a dream, and I could see a certain woman, and the woman had cut the head of a chicken, and she was going like this with blood on something, and I recognized the woman, right? So I got up and started praying against her, rebuking her in Jesus Christ's name. Following day, Tia Rachel calls me, and she said, "Do you know what's going on? Somebody something was happening. Somebody passed away." And I say, "I know who." And I told her the name of the person, and she freaked out.
Oh wow.
She freaked out that that I knew the name of the person that passed away, because there's no way I should have known, because she's the one that works in the emergency room. But I had already seen what she tried to do. I got the picture. I have the picture that was given to me, where it's got the stains of blood on it. It was an army picture of me that she was trying to do a brujeria on,
What
and
the
you can
hell
see
happened?
the streaks of red of blood of the chicken blood on it. But she died, I believe, of a brain aneurysm. We lost cousin Jesus. But you remember that, Tia Rachel or Raquel? You remember that when that happened? I had been fighting all night the night before because I seen that, and when I woke up and started praying against it, I could hear people talk chanting outside my home. So I started rebuking them in Jesus Christ's name, right? They were chanting outside my home. I went to sleep. When I woke up, that's when you called me, and I already knew more or less who it was. And I told you who it was. And I believe it was her and him that were trying to do something wrong to me, but it backfired on them. And I believe both of them wound up in the hospital. She was found deceased, I believe, and he was seriously ill, laying right beside her or something like that. But spiritually, I've been fighting all my life. So to me, when something like that happens, it's nothing new to me, you know? It's just back then in the 70s, our parents are strict as hell, that we can't say too much. So I would see a lot of things that not ordinary people would see, but I couldn't say nothing too much because my mom would get mad. She would get mad because I was going to say something spiritually. She didn't want me to be that way. She wanted me to be strong, as in ready to handle business, like ready for anything, which, but, I always follow my heart. My heart's telling me to do the right thing, to help out people. And that's what I was about, and I've had the spiritual gift for a very long time. My great great grandmother, my Lola, knew this. She knew this when I was a kid. I remember we were talking, and I was always eavesdropping, right? So my mom would get mad, and it was always a whooping when I interrupted a conversation. So my great great grandmother asked me, her name's Ma Lola, God rest her soul in peace. She had asked me, "Why do you love coming over here? Why do you like coming here a lot?" So, well, I like to play with the pigeons, with the chickens, and then I like go talk to the man that sits over there in the chair. And she looks at my mother, and then look at each other. I say, "Yeah, I always go talk to him, but never says nothing to me." And it's like, "How does he look?" And I'll tell him how he looked. That he's wearing some thick denim jeans. That his boots are always muddy. And she's looking at my mom, and my mom's telling me, "Shut up, shut up." And my great great grandmother, she's like, "No, let him speak. Where else do you see him?" "Oh, I see him here in this room here. He's always sitting by the chair, always looking out the window." And then she looks at my mom, and they look at each other. And my great great grandmother told me that I was spiritually blessed, And my mom was just freaked out, because certain things that in that nature. But my great grandmother knew I'm a spiritual gifts, and uh, basically, there's no way I would have known that was my great great grandfather, because he passed away before I was even born. So I got to see how he looked, even though he was a spirit form. But there's no way it was him, because he passed away before I was born. Uh, Yeah, I was always listening to everything. I mean, it was a small house, and you couldn't help. I mean, it's everybody's talking loud. I mean, I talk loud still. My mom would talk loud. So if you're talking loud, the whole neighborhood's gonna hear. So it's like, how do they know that? Well, Shinga, you're talking real loud. Uh, I do that sometimes. It's like just a lot of crazy stuff in that nature. Uh, I could see the demonic entity that was inside Benita's brother, the one that's sick. He would always surface up, looking at me through him, and when I was a kid going to the store and coming back, he would always stand there by the doorway, and I could see it. I could see it in him, making him do things that he's not supposed to do. Uh, I will witness that, you know. I will witness things where people pull out knives on me. I'm going to the corner store to buy a loaf of bread. I'm a kid in shorts, barefooted, with no shirt, and guy just pulls out a knife on me, said he's going to stab me out of nowhere. I don't know if he's high on paint, high on drugs, but he's literally trying to slice me up with a knife, and I mean swinging at me, and I'm dodging him, and I run home with a loaf of bread. What he don't understand is I wasn't afraid of being cut by a knife. It was a whooping I would get if I didn't take a good loaf of bread home. If the bread would have been crushed, my mom would have whooped me. So I wasn't worried about that guy. One time I was going to the store and I went to go buy the loaf of bread. When I stepped outside, there was a black limo car with tint in the middle of the road. See guys walk out all in black, hit the door down. They go in there and I hear gunshots, boom, boom, boom. And I'm just there looking at the whole thing, just standing there like frozen, just looking. I was like 5, 6 years old, just looking. They get in there, and one of them says, "Should we take him out?" That's what they say. Should we take him out? They say, we don't take out kids. And then he lowered down the window, lowered down more so I could see his face, and he looked at me and said, "You're lucky we don't take out kids." And then he raised it back up, and they take off. But I didn't flinch. I wasn't afraid. I guess that's what one of the things is that I've never really been afraid of a lot of things. So that's got me in troubles because I don't show the fear that people that try to do the fear mongering, bullies and stuff like that, probably would get pissed off at me because they bully everybody else. But when it comes to me, it's like I wouldn't show those emotions of fear, so they get pissed off, because I'm not meeting their demands of fear mongering, you know. So in which I wind up uh, getting in fights. Not that I want to, uh, but in that nature, say things spiritually. That's no different. Uh, you get tested that way. I'm not going to give something that has fallen. That's fallen. Uh, I'm not going to give something that has fallen or that's below me because I still have an opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. I'm not going to give something that's fallen uh, any kind of deal because their fate is already sealed. So it's just how you want to be as a person. I know people are busy with life and this, work, this and this, and me, I'm just a disabled vet. I do this live podcast and uh, share my stories to whoever wants to listen, and just throw it out there because I don't know how well my memory is going to be in like say 5 years, if God wills, 10 years. So I'm letting it all out because you know that's what I'm supposed to do. Sharing is caring. One of my stories could relate to somebody that they're going through something right now that they're listening to what I'm saying and it can help them. But I've always had a good heart, in that sense of a way. But sometimes in life, people try to paint you a certain way. You're good at heart, or they look at a something bad that happened, and then it's the life. You can keep everybody happy, but when you get spiritually attacked, like I did in Elms Grove in 2016, for those who haven't watched this Woods Are Haunted season 3, episode 2, something is out there on the Travel Channel. Check it out. That's what the show came on. Not sure what happened to me over there. I was getting physically and spiritually attacked. And I kept everything to myself. I wouldn't tell really nobody nothing about anything that I was going through, because I knew that what I was going through, nobody would understand. At that time, it was something that I had to go through, in which I would always say it was so heavy, dark and heavy, that I was being spiritual attacked, that I think I had like this much of a gap, that I would say to myself, I would pray, say, Jesus, if I can find that little opening, I'm going to use that little opening, and I'm going to overcome this unseen enemy. Then it happened. How it happened is when I forgave. I said, what is it opening do I have that I'm being spiritually attacked this way, physically and spiritually? I mean, literally getting hit by an unseen force, flying 4 or 5 feet, tumble and roll, getting hit in the back and the sides. I mean, and I would pray. My faith was still there. And I said, I know what it is. I have unforgiveness. I had to forgive a person that I had a lot of hatred towards, vengeance. You could say that I wish that I wanted, but I don't know why I had that much vengeance or hatred towards this guy if he's already gone. I didn't know he was gone. I remember when he surfaced up, when all that was happening, he surfaced up in spirit form, laughing. So, sorry, I got you. I know what it is about now. So I forgave him. Said, you come and tormenting me because you worked some deal, or you had a deal because of what you believed in. So I'm going to take care of you. So I forgave him. Truthfully, I prayed to God. I forgave him. When I did that, all the things that were happening to me ceased, because forgiveness is part of love. And I got blessed with the spiritual gifts of discernment. They made one more final attempt to try to tell me that they want me to do something, and what they want me to do is to take my life. But you see, I already had the heart, the love in me, because God blessed me with the spiritual gift of discernment. So I told them, I take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. I tie, bind, and rebuke you. And they left. Ever since that day, I've been on this journey of trying to awaken my brothers and sisters, which that means all of y'all, because I share the stories that what I've been through, so people can understand that we are somebody. We all have the opportunity to make it into the kingdom of heaven. Every single one of us. It's just we have to do certain things in order for these unseen forces not to be able to come up against us in a negative way. That's why I do this works. You could say I could have died numerous times. I've crossed over. I've been blessed and blessed and blessed. That's why I do these lives, for those that want to listen. I know it's not a big platform, or I have a cover picture. I'm going to go out. I just go do random lives, but I do it because I care. And to me, it's not about the viewership. To me, it's not about the numbers. To me, it's because I just want to help out as many people as possible spiritually. How you doing, Brother Tyrone? How you doing, Brother Anthony? Yes, there's a lot of, you could say, a lot of evils happening around the world. But what's important is not to focus on those things. You know, like for example, the bridge, they collapsed, but it didn't collapse. It looked like they hit it intentionally. Of what a witness. The only thing we can do is pray for those individuals. If somebody lost their lives, that's all we can do is pray. You know, whether they did it for that or they did it for the insurance, only God knows. But you know, if somebody did pass away, I would like to pray right now for those who passed away. If somebody did pass away, Heavenly Father, we'd like to pray for the people that lost their lives through the collapse of the bridge, for you to guide them into your heavenly kingdom with your shining light, Heavenly Father. This I pray in your name. Amen. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening in the world, but we got to focus on our foundation. Get up and attend the love foundation. Man, I tell you what, it's protected me so many times that I've been in situations, and as I'm attending my love foundation and I deflect any form of negativity, like right now I got this aquamarine necklace. I got a piece of selenite, a black tourmaline. Uh, that's what I wear. Um, as we how should I say, as we protect ourselves spiritually, you know, we grow, we grow. Uh, Said I have been sick for about say 7, 8, 9, 10 days, 11 days with bad allergies. They came out of nowhere. It was from me just going outside, taking out the trash. The wind it wasn't even that windy. I walked back inside the house, and that was it. I had been sick. I had to go to the emergency room, trying to find out what's going on with me. And the only thing they found out was allergies, a bad case of allergies. But it happened that way. What attacks that our senses, right? Ears, your tear ducts, your nose, your mouth, any opening that we have in our body, that is our senses, right? That's what senses around us. So if our senses are being targeted that way, then we're not able to be comfortable. We're not able to breathe right. We're not able to speak. Well, to me, that feels more of a like a spiritual attack, you know. So that's why I kept on praying. Even though I got medicines, I kept on praying and praying and praying. I'm not completely 100% healed yet from that, but I know how the unseen enemy works. It does that to try to prevent you from doing the works that I like to do. Uh, but anyways, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that joined. Tia Raquel, maybe one day you ever want to share a story. I don't know if you're able to share any stories because I know you still work for the hospital. But maybe one day we get you to share some of the stories that you experienced. Uh, I remember a lot of things. I remember down that road by the canal over there where you were learning how to drive. You and Tia Sylvia, where the dark shadow figure appeared out of nowhere, and it was holding the back of the station wagon. You remember that? I remember that. And y'all couldn't move forward, but there was something holding the back of the station wagon. This shadow figure was literally not making. You couldn't move forward. You couldn't move forward, and it was kind of like a scary moment. There is when y'all learned how to drive. But anyways, I don't want to be on here too long. I think I've spoken enough. I think like 2 hours. But I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I'm going to see how I can start bringing in guests instead of, and maybe post ahead of time when I'm going to go live. Um, but you know how I do it, guys. You know, I make the videos, then I share it to my YouTube channel, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to subscribe. You can share it to your friends. You know, tell your friends about it. I just want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all for being you. I want to tell y'all that I love y'all. I have no anger or hatred towards anybody. Life's too short for that. I'd rather have love. If something were to happen to me and I will leave this world, I want to leave this world with the love foundation because that's going to help me ascend into the kingdom of heaven. So, in saying that, I reiterate I have no hatred towards anybody in any kind of way, shape, or form. I'm getting a little bit better, and as I'm getting better, I'll see how I can make more videos. But thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you, cousin Jesus Carvajal, for sharing some of your stories of what you've seen, what you experienced. And God bless every single one of y'all and your families. Love, light, and blessings here from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. If anybody's got a story to share or want to go live one-on-one here with me on Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, hit me up on Messenger and we'll make it happen. Thank y'all. God bless y'all. You have a beautiful, blessed evening. Peace.